Subscribe, like, comment and share to support the channel. Thank you for the support. What? Shouted Damien as he arrived inside the city walls. Did you say Jushin? He asked Minjun as Damien himself couldn't believe it. Minjun tells him that it was what his system window said as he looks at it with a nervous expression on his face. He also told him that the people he was around were walking around while wearing some old-fashioned clothes. Minjun could also see Chinese characters and old-school tiled roof houses. He continues to compare his current location to what was almost like its half-historical and half-martial arts novel. Hearing Minjun describe his location brings a shock to Damien's face as he finally realizes where he was. He tells Minjun that he had hit the jackpot. Minjun continues to wander around his new area thinking about what Damien meant by that. Damien soon tells him that he was in the Eastern Continent and that Minjun was one of the first AC users to get there. Minjun was startled to hear that from Damien as even his expression shocked the people near him. He finally realized for himself that he wasn't in the main continent but was instead at the Eastern Continent. Damien soon asked him about how he could have gotten there by himself. Minjun then tells him the story as he recalls the past. He tells Damien that he had met an old man who was picking clams at the dock and that he decided to help him. In return, the old man gave him a ride, and that was the end of the story. After hearing the story, Damien immediately tells Minjun to start streaming as this was basically a sign from the gods telling him to be a streamer. Minjun was hesitant but soon agrees with Damien's idea. Damien also told Minjun that if he was curious about anything he should feel free to ask him as Damien was willing to set up his stream for him. Minjun was glad to hear that and decides to leave the streaming to Damien, but he soon scratches his head over the idea that he was the first AC user to reach the Eastern Continent, which is weird to him. But what weirder was the fact that Damien knew about the Eastern Continent. Damien could be seen laughing out loud. He couldn't believe that Minjun was actually the first person to reach the Eastern Continent, the nation where the sun rises from the east. Jushin. It was supposed to be a new continent discovered after a year. Damien soon recalls an image of an old man with lighting all around him. He noted that this man was Master Rising Thunder Sky, who was from Jushin too, and uses the Martial Supreme Rising Thunder Sky technique. Damien, who was an average hand-to-hand fighting class before regressing, was taught an outstanding internal energy arts and martial arts of incredible power by this NPC. His current knowledge of the Eastern Continent was also due to the old man. Thanks to the old man, Damien was able to defeat the original continent's rookies and receive the title. But as Damien continued to stroll through the city, he thought about how it was all in the past and so was the glory that came along with it. But as he opened his status window, his face was filled with annoyance as he was now somebody who had to use these shitty witch doctor skills. He quoted a phrase, "Those who will succeed will do so regardless of what they do." Bundle appears with an angry look on his face. He scolds Damien for saying those words as it meant that he was insulting Bundle right now. Even Damien was caught off guard by the sudden appearance of Bundle. Bundle begins to attack Damien, telling him that he had heard everything he said. The two continued to mess around with each other, catching the attention of anyone who was near them. The scene changes to the Terra Kingdom Branch Adventurers Guild. I forgot this lady's name, so we will call him Mommy Maid. Mommy Maid looks up with a smile, saying that the pride of the Terra branch is here. She had heard that Damien was injured but looked fine now. Damien was confused by her presence and questioned her about where Hatsan was. She tells him that Hatsan had went on a work trip and that she was acting as his proxy while he was gone. Damien couldn't believe it but still asked for work as he needed to make money. Mommy Maid was surprised to learn that Damien had already used all his money as his recent pay should have been pretty good. Damien knew that, but upon seeing his inventory his face showed a defeated look. A status window appears showing the current state of his equipment. His trusty sashimi knife had been destroyed alongside his flame lizard bracelet. The Nijiwala's leather pants only had 11% durability left and his golden rabbit sandals only had 5% durability left. Damien actually wanted to rest but he didn't have a choice since all of his gear got wrecked during his previous fight. He soon thinks about Kieran's words about how even he couldn't know when the 7 deadly sins bastards will attack again, which was why Damien needed to recover his gear as soon as possible. He also thought about how he had the contract payment was entertainment gave him, but he didn't want to touch that if possible. He needed to use it for his father's hospital fees and for his mom and sister Jean-Hoon living expenses. Damien was feeling more tired as he knew that he couldn't make the same mistakes as before. Mommy Maid continues to stare at Damien with curious eyes. She soon tells him that since it was a request from none other than their ace, she has to do what she says, while giving a seductive bombastic side-eye. Seeing that side-eye sent shivers down Damien's spine as he thought about how this person was really a bit scary. She soon hands him a piece of paper and tells him to read it. After reading the paper, Damien was shocked to see what it was. Mommy Maid licks her lips, telling him that it wasn't an easy job, but if it's her darling Damien, she was sure it would be possible. The scene changes to the Veritas Highlands where snow and ice covered the land. A portal is seen with various users surrounding it. Damien was busy dealing with the freezing cold weather. His body shivers intensely as he couldn't believe that Mommy Maid gave him a place like this one, which reminded him of the past. Bundle was curious and asked if he had been here before. Damien tells him no, but that there was a similar place in the world he lived in. It was during his National Army service. Back in Korea, an announcement is made, calling out for those who have volunteered for the defense of Albion Fortress to please gather at the central square. A knight clad in heavy armor announces again, stating that in 30 minutes, Commander Michael will instruct them. The knight continues to repeat the same announcements as more and more users started to move towards the portal. Damien watches the crowd from the back and wonders if it was starting. He soon recalls the Albion Fortress. It was a place where monsters appear almost every day, not to mention that geographically speaking, it was not a nice place. The rate at which people run away and die is high, so most ranked mercenaries are opposed to going. Mommy Maid informs Damien that from the kingdom's perspective, it's also a place that must be defended to prevent monsters from crossing over the border. Damien replied that it sounds difficult just from hearing about and wonders whether the pay is good. Cha-ching. She reveals to him that the basic pay is 200,000 gold, and depending on his achievements he could get a bonus. Among the currently registered quests, this has the highest pay but warns him that the quest won't be easy. Damien himself heads over to the central square, talking about how there was nothing easy in this world, but regardless, he just needs to face whatever comes his way. "Ah, you!" shouted a voice as a gloved finger is seen pointing towards Damien. The sudden shout causes Damien and Bundle to turn around and see who it was. It was the female party leader who Damien had stripped her clothes off. She calls him out to him and calls him a pervert from back then. Damien soon remembers her as the person he met at the Great Wolf King raid from before. She was annoyed but his presence and questioned how scum like him was here. Damien tells her that her words were too harsh since they met after so long. He soon realizes that she had gotten new equipment, which meant she had spent some money. Hyun immediately covers her body in fear after hearing those words from Damien. She tells herself to not be scared as she couldn't be afraid of a pervert like him. She recalls her past experience where an instructor told her that she didn't have enough training, and that a blacksmith said it was difficult to repair her equipment, and finally if she wanted to recover her gear, she needed to have money. Hyun started to shake with anger as she recalled the shame she experienced because of the bastard Damien. She finally takes out her sword, telling him to prepare as today was the day he was going to die. "You'll regret it," said Damien with a mean face. Bundle too had a mean face going on, but Hyun couldn't believe what he said. Damien started to get serious as the look in his eyes changed. He repeats to her that if she doesn't put her sword down, she'll regret it. But his words had no impact on her as she rushes forward to attack. She unleashes her skill called Chevalier Attack Composite, which pierces Damien's head, but she could sense that he had dodged it with ease. She quickly turns around and tells him that she wouldn't let him go, but a voice tells her that she had lost her mind. With a swift motion, a leg is seen letting out a kick that sends her flying back hard. Her face was filled with pain as she holds onto her stomach, but she soon coughs out a green liquid, EW, and collapses onto the ground. Damien stood over her with a smile on his face, telling her that he was right about her regretting it. He then looked straight ahead and noted that it was him, the people at the front who protect the border and Albion Fortress with absolute defense. It was the Night Crow Knights. A man wearing a cape and armor is seen in a kicking stance. He tells the crowd that those who fight within Albion Fortress will be immediately executed. "Do you want to die?" he asked with a serious look on his face. This was Jorno D. Jekachev, the 6th platoon commander of the Night Crow Knights. Cloak with feathers like those of a crow's and dark-colored armor, the leading role in protecting the border in Albion's fortress with absolute defense, where each individual is known to exceed the skills of the knight commanders of the royal guards of most kingdoms. This was the Night Crow Knights. Jorno looks down at Hyun in silence, before wondering if she was a member of the Ursulija family. A red jewel with a marking is seen which symbolizes the sign of the Ursulija family. He tells her that it seems like the level of manpower of the Ursulija family has fallen significantly. "How dare you?" responded Hyun after hearing that from him, but Jorno turns to leave, telling her that since she was a member of one of the families that represent the Terra Kingdom, she needed to act accordingly. but if she wasn't a member of the Ursalia family, he would have killed her on the spot. She held a shocked expression after hearing that warning. Damien continues to taunt her, surprised to learn that she had quite a good backer and that he didn't know that the Night Crow Knights wouldn't take their swords out in a situation like this. He tells her to consider herself lucky since it looked like her class saved her life. But hearing those words coming from Damien made her even more angry. He continues to tease her after seeing her reaction, telling her that he knew she had feelings for him but that she should focus more on her job like the knight said. He reminded her that they weren't here on a vacation. Damien then smirks at her, telling her that she wouldn't have time to focus on him since she would be trying her best just to stay alive. He finally decides to leave and waves her goodbye and good luck. Hyun could only shout in the air about what was wrong with Damien, equipping a high-efficiency item enchanted with homeostasis magic to maintain body temperature as well as stamina recovery magic to combat long periods of reconnaissance or marches. The highest level of defense Damien can use at his current level. Our boy has now joined the Night Watch. Damien had equipped the full set of the Chaser of the Night armor. He was excited as he noted that the quality was quite amazing for a Baron Border Corps supplies. No matter how cold it was going to get, Damien believed that he would be fine with this set of armor. Bundle was happy as well as he himself had equipped the same set of armor. He tells Damien that he was warm too now. Damien looks at Bundle and was impressed by his latest fit, but Bundle teases Damien that he looked like a chick too now. Damien plays along and tells Bundle that he was actually a crow right now. It seems you've taken quite a liking to the supplies, said a voice. It was from the Knight Giorno. He reminds Damien that if he dies and all the equipment would be worthless. Damien laughs at that remark but agrees with Giorno that everything is useless once you die. He recognizes Giorno as the Night Crow he saw outside earlier. A status window appears and reveals some information about Giorno. It states that he is the eldest son of the Jekachev family who avoided and survived the purging of political opponents. After losing everything, he devoted himself to Albion Fortress. Now no one knows of his past. He uses the swordsmanship of the Night Crows and the swordsmanship of Jekachev. His level was 99 and held numerous titles. Giorno tells Damien that judging from his energy, he noted that he wasn't a rookie like the woman from earlier, but then he issues a reminder to Damien, telling him not to forget that this is a dangerous place where even experienced warriors die overnight. The only ones who will clean his body are monsters. Damien could only nervously agree to what Giorno said as he thought of him as being pretentious. Giorno then tells Damien to go outside as he was the last one and that soon the commander's instruction for the defense will begin. Damien salutes Giorno as he left, telling him that he understood his instructions. A massive crowd is seen gathering in front of the portal. All of them were wearing the same set of Night Watch armor. A foot appears on the steps leading to the portal. A man is seen hunch over and walks up the steps. He turns around and shouted at the top of his lungs, welcoming the soldiers and introducing himself as Michael Sinister, the commanding officer. He greatly praises the crowd's courage for coming to this cursed place on their own 2 feet. He talks about how some may be here for their own advancements while others are here because of unexplainable circumstances. There are also those that may be here due to a sense of duty to protect humanity from the monsters outside of the borders. But he gives out a warning that this place is a cursed land where nothing they wanted exists. This is a place where you have to kill in order to not be killed. This is originally the land of the monsters. It was that way since before and it will continue to be that way. He announces that from today onwards, they will follow the fortress regulations and are to prepare for the coming day of the twin moons, and to carry out their duty to protect the border with absolute defense. Although it will only last for half a month, it will be a difficult battle. This time might be the last for the fortress. The crowd began to talk amongst themselves after hearing the message from the commander, but he continues to talk, telling them to not forget that all they have to protect is themselves. With a fierce look in his eye, he tells the crowd that after today, they will all be busy fighting, so if they had anything to ask now. Any questions? He yells at the crowd. A man raises his hand and asks the commander about what they needed to do from now on. The commander reveals to them that the Albion Fortress is at the edge of Veritas Highlands, and is located at the summit, which spreads out in the shape of a fan. Thanks to their geographical advantage, they've been able to block the monsters on the borders until now, but on the other hand, that's the main reason Albion Fortress is being invaded periodically. That's why they needed to prepare for the invasion of the enemies before the day of the twin moons and get classified into the Annihilation Team, the Reconnaissance Team, and the Pioneer Team. And on the day of the twin moons, they will need to put all of their power into stopping the coming monsters. The crowd grew nervous, wondering what kind of monsters they will be facing. The commander tells them that although they had fought the monsters for a long time, they were unsure of their exact identities. The monsters were irregular and different in kind with no particular abilities or shapes, but he tells them that the monsters all have one thing in common, and that it was they were all specialized in killing. Hearing that dampened the atmosphere amongst the crowd as fear began to take over them. With a snap of his fingers, the commander announces that he will organize them into their teams. He tells them to move according to Peterson's regulations. The crowd grew wild over the new instructions and regulations. Some were upset and stated that they were a gold-rank adventurer from the Adventurers Guild. But as they argued, a man suddenly enters the town square. One of the members of the crowd continues to complain to the commander, asking him if he thought that he came here just to clean up after the old men. But the other members soon grew silent as the large shadow appeared behind them. The man who was complaining scolded the commander, telling him that he was just tools for users to level up and that without the users, they wouldn't have anyone else that needed them. The huge shadow soon casts over him, causing him to turn around nervously to see what it was. The large figure tells the man to keep talking. With his fist raised into the air, he slams it into the user, turning him into nothing but blood. A window appears stating that the user called on the West had died and logged out. Due to the use of inappropriate language, his account has been suspended. The other members of the crowd were shocked to witness the sight of one of them being killed in a single blow by the large figure, with blood all over his face and armor. He warns the users that if they go against the commands, they will be executed, and that if they resist or tried escaping, they will be executed. He continues to warn them that all acts that go against Albion Fortress will result in immediate execution. Reminds me of Oprah, you get an execution, you get an execution. He then tells the users that if they wanted to end their lives right now, it wasn't a bad decision to keep talking shit like the bastard who had just died, since it'll be less painful than getting ripped to shreds by the monsters outside the border. He says with murder in his eyes. After witnessing the scene of a user being murdered right in front of him, even Damien wondered if he and Bundle should just run away right now. Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.